it's cocktail hour, so rack 'em up. Ooh, mama, it's cocktail hour, so pour it up. Pour it up.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, Zeta Lisa. Welcome to Mama's Cocktail Hour. So today I am pouring it up with some coffee. So be sure to get your cannabis, get your coffee, get your vino, your alcohol, whatever you're doing to stay warm on this snowy day. And let's get into all of the bullshit, okay? Because I have time. Right now, I am hoping and praying that New Jersey stays with the power on. If you guys are in the Northeast and you are experiencing this snowstorm, they're making this snowstorm out to be like the biggest snowstorm. If you're from New York and you remember the snowstorm of 1996, this is the vibes that I feel like I'm getting with this snowstorm. Okay? So actually, if you guys have not checked out my YouTube channel, please do so. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We got lots to talk about today, okay? So we're going to get into the snow, but we're also going to get into an important D4VD update. It looks like there has been an arrest, so we're going to get into that. We're also going to get into what is going on in Minnesota. So you know we covered it here when the woman in Minnesota, her name was Renee, when she was shot and unalived by ICE agents. We covered it here on Mama's Cocktail Hour in real time. So we're going to get into exactly what's happening over there right now. There are still protests over there. There has been another U.S. citizen shot in Minnesota, and Minnesota they ain't got no time, okay? They are out there protesting in probably negative-degree weathers because it is freezing over there. But there is a lot going on in Minnesota, and we're going to get into it tonight. Well, it's not even tonight, guys. It's like afternoon. I'm so used to being here at night with you guys that I'm excited to be here at 2 o'clock. Now, you know it's snowing, and I don't have lots to do because usually as a mom, I won't be here till like at night. But it's 2 o'clock. We got lots to get into. We are also going to get into the Minnesota stuff. So if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit that notification button so you guys could be alerted when there's a new video. I drop new videos every week here. I'm trying to be more consistent with it. You guys know I'm growing, so please like, comment, all that good stuff helps to push the video forward, okay? So let's get into it. All right, so we're just going to talk about the snow really quickly because your girl was outside, okay? So I, this morning, had to run a quick errand, and so I had to go to the store, which was like about 3 miles away from my house. And if you guys want to check out my YouTube, I actually went live today where I showed you guys in real time what it looked like outside, okay? So the streets are completely desolate, and it's kind of giving these vibes. Hold on, let me add to the stage real quick, okay? So this is a real photo of what it looks like in the Northeast right now. So if you guys are in the Northeast, I will tell you guys, if you don't have to go out, don't go out, okay? If you don't have a car with 4-wheel drive, please be careful out there, because when I went out there earlier, my husband has a Ram, so we were good. But yo, when I tell you, we could not even see like 100 feet in front of us. We couldn't see. Like, it is so hazy outside. It is just snowy. The weather's bad. You can't see shit. So if you guys are in the Northeast area, stay safe. Make sure you guys are charging everything. Like right now, we have been fortunate enough to still have power. But I did hear that there are some locations in South Jersey who are already powerless. So unless y'all got a generator, I know it's about to be real cold. So it's 17 degrees out here in New Jersey where I'm at. So it is frigid. So everybody, please stay safe. I know the kids are actually loving this snow day. In New Jersey, they have already canceled schools for tomorrow. So it's going to be an interesting couple of days, and it looks like we have one more day in this snowstorm, okay? Because it is not supposed to end until tomorrow. So I'm hoping that the power stays on and everybody is safe. I just wanted to touch on that in the event that you guys are in the New Jersey, New York area, because then we are experiencing the same exact weather. All right, so let's get into the topic that I really want to discuss today. Okay, so there has been a major update in the D4VD case, and let's get into that, okay? Okay, so major update in the D4VD case. It looks like D4VD's friend, Neil Langston, has been arrested in Montana, okay? I have some photos of the arrest. I actually also have some real updates on what has happened since the arrest, so let's get into it. And I'm just going to dive into what we want to see, okay? Mr. Leo, his name is Neil Langston, okay? He is D4VD's right-hand man. Some people also like to speculate that they are in a secret lover down low relationship, allegedly. And they are saying that this is the man who could have allegedly have driven the Tesla to its last resting place on Bluebird Avenue, okay? So it looks like they had a warrant out for his arrest. We're still unclear as to what the warrant was pertaining, probably having to do with coming to the grand jury to speak as a witness. He probably was dodging that. But what type of dude has a mugshot where he is smiling, okay? This is absolutely incredible. Like, this is a 23-year-old boy who has already thrown his life away. Whatever life he has left is a wrap. I'm not saying, like, everybody is innocent till proven guilty, but sometimes, like, if there's smoke, there's fire. And you guys know I'm a firm believer in if there's smoke, there's fire. If this man did not, in my opinion, if this man did not have anything to do with this, he would have already brought himself in. He would have already been speaking to some type of prosecution, the officers. He would have been helping out in some type of way. The fact that this man who lives in Los Angeles went back to his mother's house to hide out in Montana, it's very telling as to what his role could possibly be in this whole David Celeste Riva situation, okay? But we are finally getting closer. I'm hoping that the next arrest that comes is actually David being arrested, because the bullshit that I've been hearing is that he has not even been arrested, okay? And for me, like, that's absolutely ridiculous. The fact that he is still roaming these streets, could he also be hiding out? I don't know. I've actually seen some stuff on the internet that suggests that he too was like hiding out. But let's get into some of the facts that I want to share with you before we jump into a reaction video. It's been a long time since we did a reaction video, and I believe that Sloan, if you guys do not know Sloan, shout out to Sloan on YouTube. His channel is amazing. He's been covering this whole D4VD case, and he broke down exactly who Neil Langston is for everybody who doesn't understand who he is. So we're going to get into that video. But before we do that, let's just get into some of the facts, okay? So if you can see right here, I was able to get us some receipts. It looks like Neil Langston was taken into custody on January 22nd, 2026. He is a 23-year-old male, okay? And this is the officer report, okay? So these are just some facts stating when he was arrested, the time. It's a military time, so you guys can see that there. Who was the officer who arrested him, and so forth. So he has been arrested. But again, I want to get into let's do this. Let's get into this video by Sloan real quick that I do want to share. I'm sorry, guys. Let me get the video for us. Okay. So we are going to get into this. Okay, guys.
And accomplice Neo Langston has been arrested for his involvement in the murder of Celeste. So let's get into it.
Okay, guys, let's get into it.
You really have to be one sick individual to be smiling like this in your mugshot for your connection to the murder of a 14-year-old girl. Let me reintroduce you guys to Neo. This is David's close friend, someone I've been calling out throughout this entire investigation. Well, he's finally behind bars, which is a good sign that we might be getting some progress. Maybe David would be next. I mean, from what I know, David hasn't even been questioned yet, but his buddy is behind bars. Let's go through some of the photos we have of Neo being arrested. Here he is in the state of Montana. Keep in mind, Neo was not permitted to leave the state of California, or really Los Angeles in general, because of his connection to this investigation. So him leaving all the way to Montana is already a violation. He was actually at his...
That is, okay, I just wanted to say that is a great point, okay? So you guys remember that there was a grand jury convened on this case. So they were seeing witnesses, questioning witnesses. There was that whole thing about the girl, the woman who didn't want to come, that they were going to force to come. So this isn't, at this point, for me, what this tells me is that they know he has something to do with it. Now, remember, Sloan is going to break it down, because he is going to just bring you back to the beginning of this case, because there are so many facts here that I feel like we have lost, because this case has dragged on for so many months. Remember, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, RIP to Celeste Rivas Hernandez, her body turned up in early September in the backseat of, in the frunk of a Tesla, okay? This was in September, guys. We are now in February, and we are finally getting some type of a perp walk, okay? So there are so many things that happened with this case that we have missed, okay? So let's bring it back to the PI who stated that he started to investigate the D4VD, and I'm sorry, I call him D4VD. People are like, why don't you just call him David? I don't even want to give him respect like that, okay? So let's call him D4VD. So he was, the car was found in early September, okay? And the private investigator was looking on the cameras to see who was the person who drove the Tesla to its last resting spot before it was taken to the tow yard, okay? And so he had made lots of references to the person being a very distinct person, and everybody in the media was pointing at Mr. Neo Langston, who is D4VD's right-hand man. All right, so we're gonna break all of that down. Let Sloan cook a little bit, but I just had to give y'all that tidbit.
His mother's home. How are you going to bring this kind of chaos to your mom's home?
Facts.
Keep it out of the family, but he probably had nowhere to go, just kind of waiting for this moment for the police to pick him up. I mean, a person with maybe a little bit of integrity, some morals would have turned themselves in, but we're dealing with these kind of guys. You know, he ran off to his mommy's in Montana, and the cops came and picked him up. They actually worked with the LAPD. Shout out to the LAPD for once. Can we do a round of applause? Applause. A claus, Santa Claus. Anyways, can we do a round of applause? Actually, speaking of Santa, it's like snowing everywhere, right? Um, but yeah, I'm glad that they worked with Montana police to go and scoop him up because he was probably just like relaxing, living his best life, and that's not what he should be doing. No, not after a 14-year-old has been chopped up. Remember, after I spoke to the ME's office, they told me that they believed that multiple people were involved in that chopping of the body because of how the blade cut the bone. You could tell that different levels of force was being used, which would indicate that like separate people were, you know, using the knife to go and chop away at her. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Neo. Here is a photo where you can see that he is being put into handcuffs. Yeah, those are the only bracelets he'll have on for a long time. I actually do wonder, I mean, if he was actually part of the mutilation and the killing, I do think that he probably could spend the rest of his life behind bars, right? Here are some of the booking records. So you can see he was arrested at it's 1756. So that is military time. That would be like what, 556, which looks about right. Like looking at the sunlight in those photos, and there he is, 23 years old. Here is more of the paperwork. I just want you guys to see the receipts, and it looks like he's not in Montana for much longer. They're sending him right to Los Angeles to go and appear in front of that grand jury, the grand jury that he's been trying to avoid so desperately. But really, smiling like this is going to give me nightmares. I can't imagine feeling so like comfortable and joyous. I don't know. He looks genuinely happy. It's not like a
Okay. He is absolutely right. Okay. So he was supposed to be a witness, and it looks like he was trying to flee. Okay. Or he was hiding out in his mama's house in Montana. And this is the mugshot that we get from this man. Absolutely disgusting, narcissistic. Like, what is wrong with him? I agree with Sloan. What the hell is wrong? And we're all going to have nightmares every time we think about it. Like, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old girl is dead, unalived. And this is his mugshot photo, guys. This right here is his mugshot photo. All right. Let's get into it.
Like nervous smile. It's like a hey, like I'm chilling. My man's gonna bail me out.
Facts.
Who the F smiles in their mugshot for an arrest tied to a potential murder trial for a child? Is he a sociopath also? Does he think he is shooting a commercial with his wide smile? Someone said Colgate endorsement.
Facts.
Maybe he didn't know at the time of the photo last night that he wasn't getting bond. Well, good thing they are not giving him bond. Wait, he's not getting bond? Amazing. Like, keep him locked up. Does Neo even realize how much trouble he is in? Why is he smiling? The people are confused. My theory so far is right. I've been saying Neo is guilty AF. They're just trying to get him to flip. I believe he probably moved the car last, and they'll use that to pressure him to talk in exchange for a lighter sentence or possibly immunity, depending on what he knows, and I guess also what he did. Like, if he did do the chopping, like, could he even get immunity? So eerie to be smiling like this when involving a murdered child. Another person asked, is this real? Yes, it is. What do they say about a lot of killers? Smiling in serious situations equal sociopathic traits. Not a good look for him smiling in his mugshot. Somebody said, what a loser. I wonder how much money his parents spent on his smile. Someone else said, enough, stick him in jail, in the jail cell. These people have no conscience. Which is so true. They really don't. A rep for the Lewis and Clark County Jail, where Neo was first locked up, said that there was an out of jurisdiction warrant from LA to go and get him. I'm pretty sure that they knew where he was. They just kind of coordinated with the Montana police. Saw this post on Reddit. David Burke, probably right now, the David we're talking about, wondering when his knock on the door is coming. I actually do wonder where he is. I'm kind of convinced that he's in this state of Texas. The theory that I believe so far as Neo goes, I mean, I don't know if he was involved in some of the gruesome things, but I feel like one of the reasons why he is this witness and he's so wanted in the case and he needs to go and present his side to the grand jury is because there's video evidence of him with this Tesla. Part of the reason why I believe this is because of what Steve the investigator, our buddy Steve, has said about the case. He was hired by the homeowner of the home that David was renting in the Hollywood Hills to go and figure out what had happened here, and he's been a great asset in the case. It seems like he also is aware of.
Okay, this is a very good point, and I wanted to stop right here, right now. First off, I love Sloan again. Shout out to Sloan for this video. And we're just doing a reaction on this video. But I do want to read what it is that our friend Stephen Fisher said. Okay? He goes, and let's remember why Stephen Fisher is so important. He is important because he was hired by the homeowner of the house that David was renting in the Hollywood Hills, okay? So you can just look at him as a independent investigator, and this is why I love the power of the press. I love the ability to speak on things. We need to be able to still fight for those things in our America. I think those things are important. Of course, I think it's important also to move with facts, but this private investigator, Stephen Fisher, I have to give him his props on this whole D4VD case, only because there has not been much movement on the D4VD case. And he has been the one in the media that has been spewing out the facts, some of the information that he himself has found and had investigate. I think this is a true journalist. People can hate, think he's clout chasing or whatever. He has been the one, not the LAPD. Let's be real, not the ME office. We still do not have a cause of death. We still do not know anything in regards to what happened to Celeste Riva Hernandez, but we do know that Stephen Fisher has been putting out breadcrumbs to this whole situation. All right, so let's see what he says here. He says, let's speculate that the Tesla was moved the last time and left in the parking spot it was impounded right before the tour started in San Francisco. Who actually moved the Tesla the final times? Was it Neo? Just curious. Now, why I think this is so funny for me is because Stephen Fisher knows exactly who the person was that moved the Tesla the final time. And the reason why he knows that is because he was doing his own investigation. He was able to get some of the video footage from the surrounding houses, and he was able to put together a timeline of the date that the Tesla was moved to its final destination. And he has alleged several times that it was July 30th. Okay? And so I think the most important thing about when the Tesla was moved to its final resting place is that same day, it looks like D4VD was also spotted on a tour bus leaving on that same day. So he knows exactly who was the one who was seen driving the Tesla to Bluebird Avenue, leaving that, and then possibly jumping on the tour bus, okay? And he's alleging or saying, could it be Neo? So I think that's just him trying to clown. I think he knows exactly it was Neo. I'm just saying that's just my opinion. I think Stephen Fisher knows exactly who it was, and I do believe it was Neo, and that's my opinion. Okay, so the newest news, and you guys see it on the tickler going across here. So he was booked, but it looks like he was eligible for bail. He has now been bailed out on a $60K bail sentencing. It looks like the bail was set at $60K. So Mama got him out. So Neo Langston is most likely, if he's not already, out on bail. Okay, so this case is still developing. I'm super excited that there is some movement, right? Because like I said, her body was found in September, guys. We are in February. And in February, we finally hear something. Like, it is getting to the point where people are exhausted. We want answers for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. We are going to continue to ask questions. We are going to continue to speak her name. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and let's move on to the most tragic topic that I feel like in our media right now is what is going on in Minnesota. Okay. So it looks like a 37-year-old ICU nurse was unalived in Minnesota by ICE agents. We have a doctor who was on the scene who is speaking out on the New York Times discussing what it was that she saw from her perspective, and we are going to get into it, okay? First and foremost, I for one thing, I've always said this about my platform. I am always going to be real with my opinions, with my thoughts, with my feelings. I would expect that you guys, if have the same type of I hope that you're real with yours. I guess that's what I'm saying. And I hope that even if we agree, we can all remain respectful. We can all understand that when someone is unalive, there is a family that is grieving. There is somebody that lost their loved one. And we have to remember that at the core. Okay? So let's get into exactly what is happening in Minnesota right now. If you guys do not know, they are protesting. They are absolutely protesting. And we are going to get into this. We are going to get into this article from the New York Times. Okay. So let's get into that. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So here it goes, guys. Let's get into it. So it says federal officials sought to portray a 37-year-old Minneapolis resident killed by Border Patrol agents on Saturday as a domestic terrorist, saying he wanted to massacre law enforcement, even as videos emerged that appeared to directly contradict their account. Okay? It says the man, Alex Jeffrey Preddy, was an intensive care nurse described by the Minneapolis police chief as a U.S. citizen with no criminal record. Federal officials said he was armed, but there is no sign in videos analyzed by the New York Times that he pulled his weapon or that the agents even knew he had one until he was already pinned down on the sidewalk. An agent had already removed Mr. Preddy's gun when the two other agents opened fire, shooting him in the back and as he laid on the ground. At least 10 shots were fired, killing Mr. Preddy, and he had a legal permit to carry a firearm, said the police chief Brian O'Hara. The shooting on a frigid morning in Minneapolis in the Whittier neighborhood renewed protests and clashes with law enforcement in the city, where tensions have reached a breaking point after weeks of aggressive federal immigration action. Federal agents have deployed tear gas, which I think is crazy, and flashbangs to drive demonstrators away from the shooting scene as they demanded that local police officers arrest the agent who unalived Mr. Preddy. Officials said protests in Minneapolis have remained mostly peaceful with a few exceptions. But as dusk fell, officials deployed the National Guard to ensure that demonstrations did not turn violent. At least 1,000 people turned out for a vigil for Mr. Preddy in the Whittier Park on Saturday night, despite sub-zero temperatures. Okay, so it is really, really rigid. Okay, so it says that there has been video footage posted to social media and verified by the Times that shows Mr. Preddy stepping between a woman and an agent who is pepper spraying her. Other agents then pepper spray Mr. Petty, who is holding a phone in one hand and nothing in the other. His weapon remains concealed until federal agents find it and take it from him. Concealed or open carry is legal for permit owners in Minnesota. Okay, so that's something good to know. So he had a gun, a poom poom, but YouTube videos, I gotta call it something different. Okay, so it looks like he did have a, but it was concealed, which means that he was able to carry it legally, and if it's concealed, meaning that you can see it. President Trump and administrative officials declared without even evidence that Mr. Petty intended to attack federal agents. Gregory Bavino, and the official in charge of the president's Border Patrol operations, said that Mr. Petty was intent on a massacre. Kristi Noem, we remember Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, said, "This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage. Their accounts directly contradict the video of the encounter." Okay, so the New York Times are saying that their accounts directly contradict video evidence of this encounter. Okay, this was something that I wanted to kind of talk about right here, which was very interesting. There was a doctor who lived near the scene where Alex Jeffrey Petty was shot and killed by federal agents in Minneapolis on Saturday, described in a sworn court filing how agents initially hesitated and asked for proof of medical license when the doctor tried to approach to render aid. Okay? And a person who said that they were standing near Mr. Petty disputed the Department of Homeland Security's account of the incident in another sworn court filing. Okay, guys. So essentially what they're saying here is that the Department of Homeland Security, they don't believe that they're being forthcoming about the events involved with Mr. Petty. Okay? They are saying that the witnesses are disputing what the agents said that they seen. So essentially, let me break it down. They're saying they're lying. Okay. The shooting of Mr. Petty, 37, renewed protests and clashes with law enforcement in the city. Okay. The doctor, whose name was redacted from the publicly available version of the court filings, described themselves as a pediatrician and said that they had witnessed parts of the encounter from a nearby apartment. Wow. Though their view was from a distance, they described seeing a man being shoved to the ground and then shot several times. After the gunfire, they described going outside, telling an agent that they were a physician and asking to check on the person who had been shot. The doctor said that they were initially turned down, but eventually allowed to go in person after being patted down. She said, "Normally I would not..." I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I don't know for some reason why I am feeling like it was a woman. I don't know. Something about like the feminine touch to this. I don't know. Okay. Normally I would not have been so persistent, the doctor said in their statement, but as a physician, I felt a professional and moral obligation to help this man out, especially since none of the agents were helping him. The doctor described checking for a pulse, finding none, and then beginning CPR. The man appeared to be shot several times, the doctor said, shortly after he started CPR. Oh, it was a guy. It was a man. Look at that. Shortly after he started CPR, emergency medical personnel arrived and took over, the doctor said. After the shooting, the doctor described returning home as protests intensify. "I was sobbing and shaking uncontrollably," they said in a statement. Once tear gas began seeping into the apartment from the streets below, they said they got in a car and drove to a friend's home. "I'm not sure when I will return to my own apartment," the doctor wrote. "I do not feel safe in my own city." Okay, guys. It is heating up in Minnesota. I just want to say, it is a very, very sad time in our country. There are so many things happening. 2026 has already been crazy. But thank you guys for spending some time with your girl. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the video, write me in the comments about what you think about the topics that we discussed today. It is your girl Zeta Lisa, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.
It's cocktail hour, so rack 'em up. Ooh, mama, it's cocktail hour, so pour it up.